The Other Daughter, Chapter 3. I am the affair baby. That's right, the living, breathing reminder of every scandalous headline and whispered judgment. When Jamie was 12, I was admitted to the finance program at Harvard University with full scholarships. A new life full of hope lay ahead, filling me with boundless anticipation. But I couldn't stop worrying about Jamie. Living with our mom, a woman as unreliable as the wind, meant even basic needs like 3 meals a day weren't even guaranteed. Jamie had just started middle school, still a chubby kid who hadn't hit puberty yet, but he spoke with the maturity of an adult. "Sis, don't worry about me," he said, his voice steady. "Go to Massachusetts. I can take care of myself, and Mom too." That summer, with the money I'd saved from part-time jobs, I hired a nanny to look after the household. Yet my heart remained heavy as I left for college. College life was enriching and vibrant. For the first time in my 18 years, I felt like I was truly living. Nobody here knew I am the affair baby. There was no ridicule, no bullying. Nobody treated me differently or believed I had fewer rights because of my parents. I didn't have to deal with Mom's gambling and drinking, or a paternal family who pretended I didn't exist. But less than a month after I left Delilah, my father's wife discovered Jamie and me. She had never known we existed, not because my father was particularly good at hiding us, but because she never cared enough to notice. We were weeds, left to grow wild. It was my mother who exposed us. Deep in gambling debt, she went to my father for money. When he refused, she went straight to Delilah. Delilah showed up at our rundown apartment, her lips curled into a sneer. She offered my mom $50,000 to take Jamie and disappear. Mom laughed in her face. "50,000? What do you take me for? A beggar? I gave birth to 2 of Christian's kids, and one's a boy. So what if they're bastards? Don't think I don't know the law. Even illegitimate children have inheritance rights. My kids will get their share of the family fortune one day." Delilah smirked and left without another word. I don't know how she confronted my father afterward, but the next time she came, her offer had risen to $500,000, on the condition that Jamie would live with her and my mother would relinquish all parental rights. My mom, cornered by her creditors, saw the money and her eyes lit up. By the time I learned what had happened and tried to stop it, it was too late. Jamie had been taken to live with Delilah and my father. I called my mom, furious. "Jamie is only 12. How could you send him to live in a house where he'll always be an outsider? Don't you understand how Delilah might treat him?" My mom, now debt-free, replied nonchalantly, "Why wouldn't she treat him well? Jamie is your father's son, which means they come in a package together. If she had a problem with being a stepmother or with his infidelity, she'd have divorced him. Your brother is living the high life now. Big house, people tending to him. Don't be jealous just because your father wanted a boy. Once your brother settles in, we'll all benefit. He'll take care of his sister once he's rich, won't he?" I snapped, "Bring Jamie back. Even if we have to scrape by, at least he'll be safe." She sighed, exasperated. "Bring him back? And who's going to take care of him? You? Don't ruin his future. He's with his father now. That's where he belongs. I raised you 2 for over a decade. It's Christian's turn to step up. Besides, the money's gone. What if they ask for it back? Do you have $500,000 lying around?" I hung up, seething. Desperate, I called my father. "What's going on? What does Delilah plan to do with Jamie?" He sounded irritated. "Your mother caused this by begging Delilah for money. That's how she found out. But honestly, it's generous of Delilah to take Jamie in after everything. He's my son. This is his chance to reconnect with his roots." So my father saw it as a good thing, even thanking Delilah for her generosity. Swallowing my frustration, I pleaded, "Dad, since Jamie is staying with you, please look after him. He's only 12 and needs his father's guidance. With your success, I'm sure he'll grow up to be just as accomplished as you." The words tasted like bile, but I knew his ego thrived on flattery. Far away in Massachusetts, all I could do was hope he'd protect Jamie from Delilah and her daughter, Bella. I called Jamie every day. At first, he He chattered on about how he was adjusting to the new house. He said Delilah always looked stern, and Bella didn't like him. He was confined mostly to his room. Over time, his updates grew shorter. "I'm fine," he said. "The food's good." Then one day, he whispered, "Sis, I want to come home. I don't want to live here anymore. I can cook for myself. I can make sandwiches and even pasta." His words shattered me. Fighting tears, I promised, "Jamie, give me 4 years. Once I graduate, I'll bring you to live with me." After a long pause, he whispered, "Okay, sis. I'll wait for you." But just days later, while I was working a shift at McDonald's, Mom called, sobbing, "Alice, something's happened to your brother." A deafening buzz filled my head as I stood frozen. I barely heard her wails. Why? Her words faltered, choked by sobs. "He's my son. I thought. I thought he'd be okay. I thought this would give him a better life. My son didn't even get to enjoy his life and his fortune, and now he's gone." It took me minutes to process what she was saying. Jamie had eaten a macaron at my father's house. He'd suffered a severe allergic reaction and died. I was paralyzed. At 2, Jamie had a reaction to peanut butter so bad, I dragged Mom from her card game to rush him to the hospital. The doctor warned us. His nut allergy was life-threatening. Both my parents knew this. I had drilled it into Jamie, and he'd been careful ever since. As he grew older, he could tolerate small exposures, but I couldn't fathom how much he'd eaten for it to be fatal. The phone slipped from my hand as I clutched the table for support. Pain surged from my chest, consuming my entire being. The little brother who comforted me during thunderstorms, who promised to wait for me, was gone before I could bring him home.